Hey, how's it going everyone? Richard here. Today I'm going to be going over one of the best things to happen to Killing Floor 2 since the 2018 Halloween update. One of the biggest issues and some of the more common suggestions involving Killing Floor 2 revolve around expanding the gameplay loop and quality of life changes. Now, to Tripwire's credit, they have been slowly updating their UI and taking some of the tedious parts out of the game. However, the progress has been rather slow and can often be one step forward and two steps back. Thankfully, there is a solution, and one that requires no modification to your game or joining a D-ranked server, assuming you're on Steam. Previously mentioned on my last stream, Tamari and Forestmark both host servers with some of the most comprehensive improvements to Killing Floor 2. So what changes are implemented that I think are so great? Well, there are quite a few, so I'll go over some of the changes that I think you will enjoy the most. You know how when you're playing Killing Floor 2 and you die and you always seem to drop the least expensive weapon you have? So when you respawn, you're at, let's say, an economic disadvantage. Well, on these servers, you drop all of your weapons on death, meaning you won't have to spam the request dash command over and over and over again when you respawn. Plus, you can also enable pickup protection, meaning that asshole level 8 survivalists can't pick up your AA-12 and then sell it and then immediately die and disconnect. Yes, that has happened to me before. No, I don't want to talk about it. There is also an indicator on your HUD that will show you where your dropped weapon is. This is especially useful on maps that you may not be familiar with, or for people who have a life outside of Killing Floor 2 and don't memorize all the maps. Plus, you don't necessarily have to rush out and get those weapons since they will never despawn from the map. Speaking of HUD improvements, they have also incorporated a improved chat box as well as a full display of all teammate health bars made possible by a mod called Friendly HUD created by Peels. Moving on to gameplay changes, there are again quite a bit of nice touch-ups for both Endless and Survival, but the core experience still maintains its integrity. Some of the changes that many of you will like are the complete removal of EDARs from the normal spawns, Flesh Pounds and Quarter Pounds will no longer spawn raged, and ZEDs will not teleport anymore. This means you are much less likely to die from bad luck. This was a big problem on maps with narrow hallways and corridors and could lead to some pretty frustrating squad wipes. Endless mode also sees the removal of Up and Decay and Boom mutators from the wave rotation. Everybody already knows why Boom was axed, and Up and Decay is problematic since all large ZEDs have their maximum health values on these servers. There is also a huge list of other changes that are currently scrolling across the screen right now. Also check out the description for a full text readout of all the changes and improvements made in these servers. However, moving on to the focal point of this video is essentially a custom game mode created by Forest and Tamari known as Time Attack. Functionally, it is very similar to Survival on Left 4 Dead, with the main objective being to survive as long as possible against increasingly more difficult waves of ZEDs. After a small initial wave and trader time, the ZEDs will not stop spawning and maximum monsters alive will increase at a set increment. Bosses will also start appearing as well, and which boss appears is determined by what season is currently active. The upcoming season is called More Gas, so I will leave that up to your imagination as to what bosses to expect. After a while, multiple bosses will spawn, which gets interesting when you have 15 patriarchs trying to yell at you at once.
I'm back! Everything I said.
Despite ZEDs continually spawning and the difficulty continually increasing, the trader will open and can be remotely accessed for a limited time at set intervals. Some variables such as trader time, difficulty increase increments, spawn scripts, and boss types are all determined by the season, meaning expect new surprises and variation every month from this game mode. Tamari's bot also keeps track of records for each map during each season, so you can compete against other teams and try to beat their holdout times. This leaderboard system can also display in-match performance, including several different award categories, number of kills, and more. For me, this game mode is a huge breath of fresh air considering I have around 1500 hours into the game. Unlike public matches, Time Attack requires teamwork to even really get a foot in the door. As the waves progress, your situation will become increasingly perilous, forcing you to kite and remain on the move until a defensive posture can be re-established. For a quick example, on my first playthrough during Season 2, at a certain point we were being chased by no less than a dozen patriarchs with just under 180 ZEDs spawned in simultaneously. Keep in mind that the difficulty stats for ZED damage, speed, and health are all set to hell on earth as well, Still, despite the chaotic situation, you will find that solid teamwork and basic communication will far outweigh individual skill. Best of all, you will still earn XP in this game mode, albeit at a reduced rate to discourage people from XP farming. Still, I would probably not advise playing low level perks on this game mode unless you are very familiar with it. Where Tripwire has left room in the market, the community has answered. Both Tamari and Forestmark have created some extremely robust improvements to the core of Killing Floor 2. For clarity, most of the administrative and server management credit belongs to Tamari, while Forestmark did much of the coding and modification to the game. Each of them host their own servers, with Tamari's falling under his own name and Forestmark's falling under the title Sunrust. If you are interested in trying out their Survival, Turbo Endless, and Time Attack server, a link to their Discord will be provided in the video description and pinned comment. Their community is active, helpful, and always looking for fresh meat, I mean new players to join their ranks. You can also search for them in the server browser for Tamari or Sunrust servers under both Suicidal and Hell on Earth difficulties. I hope you all enjoyed this community spotlight and at least give the servers a try. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below or ask me directly on Discord, link down below. Thank you all very much for watching, but until next time, happy hunting and happy Halloween.